Celebrating 70 years of coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6, Lubbock police have made an arrest in connection with the murder of 18-year-old Lacaria Moore. Plus, the city of Lubbock is considering how to spend its remaining COVID relief money, where some of the funds have already gone, and how it will benefit Lubbock. And former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned this afternoon in Washington, D.C. Those stories and more are all just ahead. And we want to say welcome to Daybreak Today. Good morning. I'm Angie Wynn. Steve Devine is in with today's first alert forecast this August 3rd. Another hot one. In case you were wondering, we'll get to that in a moment. Michael, what do you have at the News Now desk? Good morning.
I was wondering and worried too. We have some details on what led up to an overnight rollover in North Lubbock. And a little later on the show, we show you what led to the hospitalization of 2 Texas firefighters. But for now, let's turn to Steve. Get a check of today's forecast. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Michael, and a very warm morning it is after yesterday's high of 100 degrees. Get ready for more heat, though. Well above average temperatures are going to continue all the way through the 7-day forecast on into next week. And some days our high temperatures will be right around the record level. So on and on it goes. 70 degrees right now at the airports outside of Plainview and Levelland. We're upper 70s, Seminole Airport, Lubbock Airport, Snyder Airport, Childress Airport. So very warm. Most of us are in the 70s here early this morning. Will be, again, most of us triple-digit highs. The exception will be out to the west, where it'll be in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. But again, Lubbock today, 101 degrees, expecting us to have our 25th 100-degree day of the year so far. And there are more on the way coming up. We'll look at that in the 7-day forecast here.
I'm glad you're still counting. I've lost track.
I'm not sure anybody really wants to know the count, but yeah.
But here we are.
I'm still counting.
Thanks, Steve. We begin this morning with a shooting in Chase that led to one person being hospitalized overnight. Michael has the latest from the News Now desk. Michael, what do you know?
Well, Angie, this happened in North Lubbock near the Loop and Knoxville Avenue intersection. Now, one person was taken to the hospital with moderate injuries after rolling their vehicle. Now, police say they were initially called to a convenience store in the area. A caller told them 2 vehicles were chasing after each other. The people in the vehicles were reportedly shooting at each other as well. Then one of the vehicles flipped. Only one person was hospitalized. No word on if there were any arrests or if police are searching for any suspects. Sandy?
Thank you, Michael. Meanwhile, Lubbock police have made an arrest in connection with the murder of 18-year-old Lacaria Moore. 29-year-old Tadeja Washington Harris is accused of helping Moore's accused killer, Christopher Carter, evade arrest for the past 2 weeks. She was arrested earlier this week after leaving his motel room, later admitting she helped him hide from law enforcement. Harris is now charged with hindering apprehension or prosecution of a known felon. Lubbock police say Carter shot this young girl killed this young girl, shot himself Monday after a tip led them to his motel room. This was near 19th Street and the Marcia Sharp Freeway. He was wanted for the murder of Lacaria Moore that you saw there. Moore was found dead in the trunk of Carter's car back in May. Officers say the investigation into her murder continues. And one person is in jail this morning after shooting at a central Lubbock hotel. Lubbock police were called to the DoubleTree Hotel near Avenue Q and McDavis Lane just after 5:30 last night. Officers say one person was seriously injured and taken to the hospital. Now, the names of those involved have not yet been released. But we do have an update from the city of Lubbock this morning as leaders say it's considering how to spend the remainder of COVID relief money that was set aside. Lubbock received $56.5 million in COVID relief as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. City Manager Jarrett Atkinson says about $10 million of that has yet to be used for anything, and about $5 million of it needs to be reallocated. As for the other $40 million, Atkinson says it's already been allocated. He says the money is headed to the right places, such as the new Hope Center. The Hope Center is a place where police and EMS, along with their friends and family, can gather when experiencing a mental health crisis.
Often those folks end up really not in the right place. You either have to take them to the emergency department of a hospital, or unfortunately, sometimes you have to take them to the county jail. And this is going to be, it's better for the patient 100%. It helps law enforcement and EMS, and it keeps our hospital resources free. It's going to be a neat project.
The city says there's also money left over from grants for small businesses and nonprofits. Tonight at 10, we will be looking into what Atkinson thinks that money should be used for instead. Topping headlines across the nation, former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned this afternoon at a federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. A federal grand jury indicted him Tuesday on 4 felony counts, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruction. He's accused of trying to use the January 6th Capitol riot to stop the certification of electoral votes. No word yet this morning if Trump will appear in person or via video feed. He denies any wrongdoing. Michael, what do you have for us?
Hey, right now, Texas firefighters are working to put out another wildfire in the state. This one's in San Jacinto County, about an hour and a half northeast of Houston. 2 firefighters were taken to the hospital with 1st and 2nd degree burns. A third was treated for a heat-related illness. Now, this fire started where a crop of pine trees was being gathered for timber. This has grown to 215 acres so far, 90% contained, though. 2 nearby homes are evacuated, and a dozen more are in danger of being burned. Angie?
Thank you, Michael. Now to a bit of good news. Legendary Texas Tech linebacker Zach Thomas will join the greatest football players of all time this weekend when he's inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. KCBD Sports Director Pete Christie joins us from Canton, Ohio with more. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, guys. Pete Christie in Ohio, at Canton, Ohio, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Zach Thomas is going to enter with a coveted spot Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Central Time. Take a look at this place. Only the elite get the gold jacket. You know, millions and millions and millions of people play football. Zach Thomas, the 370th, get the gold jacket, going to the Hall of Fame. First Red Raider ever. And many doubted he would even make it into the NFL, and he played 13 years, of course, most of those with the Miami Dolphins. We saw when we flew into Cleveland, all 9 guys who have claimed a spot shown off at the baggage claim area. It's a great weekend for football, NFL football, and of course, back in West Texas, one of our own, Zach Thomas, going in. The Panhandle, Pampa, White Deer folks, super pumped about this. We will talk to Zach later in the week. The gold jacket ceremony, the Hall of Fame walk, the induction. We're going to bring it all to you with our gold jacket coverage from Canton, Ohio. Pete Christie, definitely a bucket list thing. I am pumped to see Zach Thomas go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Pete. We all are pumped. You can watch Zach Thomas's induction ceremony Saturday on the NFL Network and ESPN Plus. Don't forget the NFL Hall of Fame game is at 6 tonight right here on News Channel 11. Checking in now with Steve for a look at this morning's weather. Steve, triple digit, easy for me to say, triple digit temps. When can we expect those today?
Coming up, it'll be late afternoon, mid to late afternoon. We'll get back up to that triple-digit reading. We hit it late yesterday, 100 degrees, 6 degrees above the average high for the date. Record high for yesterday, 105 degrees on the date back in 1943. It was also tied on August 2nd, 2012, 11 years ago yesterday. Now, as far as our current temperature goes, it's still 79 degrees here with partly cloudy skies. Dew point still just above the 50-degree mark. Not quite as humid as it has been the last several days. Still have some residual humidity. And as we heat up, a very slim chance of seeing a shower or 2. Very limited in coverage. But before I get to that, a look at those high temperatures again for today. Looking at readings in the upper 90s to near 100 out to the west, and then right around the upper 90s to near 100 in our central areas too. Generally up on the Cap Rock. Lubbock's headed for 101. Hottest area will be our eastern viewing area off the Cap Rock, that lower elevation. Highs here will hit 103, 104, perhaps even 105 degrees. And we're looking at a little bit of cloud cover once again today, and late in the day, possibly over the far western, mainly northwestern part of the viewing area. Could see one of those stray storms in the area. But notice how limited these are, short-lived. So again, even there, the chance of rain is going to be extremely limited. And outside of that, we are looking at another dry forecast for us. Another really warm night coming up with those temperatures dropping down into the 70s tonight. Lubbock tomorrow morning's low at about 76 degrees. Here's my forecast with the high temperatures, the larger numbers here. Record high for today, 107. Record high for tomorrow, 105. Record high for Saturday is 102. My forecast high of 103 would be a record for the date. Angie?
Thank you, Steve. Good morning to you. It's 6:09. Still to come on Daybreak today. A look at why you might be seeing more tall grass and debris on the Marcia Sharp Freeway. Plus, one popular birth control pill is being recalled this morning. What the FDA says is to blame is coming up next. Stay with us. Everything you need to know as you wake up on a Thursday is right here on Daybreak Today. You're watching News Channel 11.